Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today.
Welcome back to another podcast, Beyond the Scale. I'm your host today, Coach Darcy, and I'm going to talk to you about our episode 4. It's not season 2, episode 4. And we've been talking about the past episodes about the deeper level of weight loss and why things just don't seem to be going your way. And we just keep continuing to let you know that you're not broken. It all comes down to understanding yourself and understanding the true data about how you personally work. And today we're going to discuss another topic that prevents people from losing weight or seeing the scale move. And this is a hidden one that we don't really realize that is a problem. In fact, why the stress in your life is the weight loss connection and why cortisol might be the missing piece as to why you are not losing that weight. If you're eating clean, you're maybe doing keto, maybe you're doing carnivore, watching your carbs and the scale still won't move, we need to talk about that stress factor. You can't out diet chronic stress, period. You can't out exercise high cortisol. And stress chemistry overrides food strategy. Today, we're going to break down how stress directly affects fat storage and what to do about it. Because frankly, when we're living our life, we are wanting to have a lifestyle change. And so we all automatically go to food and diet and exercise. And we don't really look at the other pictures that are kind of included in this, which is what your calendar looks like, the commitments that we're making, the people that are causing us to be overwhelmed and angry or upset or, those types of things. So we're going to talk about in this episode, again, we're going to talk about what is cortisol. So here's what cortisol is, and I'm going to simplify it. When we do sciencey type of episodes, I like to make it so that I understand it myself. And coming from a non-science major, I think it's easier to just kind of simplify it. So cortisol is your survival hormone. It's designed to protect you. And it comes in helpful shorts of bursts. So, for example, cortisol is something that awakens so that if you are being chased by a bear, you're going to have that, and the adrenaline is a part of that. It's going to give you that boost so that you have enough energy and drive and gumption to run as hard as possible, not thinking about, what do I do in this moment? I'm going to let this bear eat me. When back in the day, our ancestors had to get into this extra like out of body experience to hunt down that bear to feed its family. So it's a survival hormone. And then another thing, it's helpful in short bursts. So like when the sun rises, that cortisol wakes you up. It is telling you, hey, it's morning time. It's giving you that energy to be like, okay, it's time to get up. It's time to move on. Time to go forward and go on throughout the day. So that sunrise is kind of waking up that cortisol. And it can be harmful when consistently elevated. So if you're consistently feeling like you are stressed out, anxious, worried, it's going to be constantly elevated. Short term stress is helpful, and chronic stress is disruptive. It is not good for your body. Your body doesn't know the difference between a tiger and an inbox full of emails. And I don't like seeing my husband's phone where it has 5,000 or no, like, I don't know, there's like 200,000 some types of emails. That stresses me out. So I just don't look at his phone. So, how can stress affect your blood sugar? Let's go into this for a little bit. When your stress rises, cortisol increases your blood sugar. Insulin rises to manage it, and then fat burning pauses because many times, I don't know, I probably can't count the many times that we have said this. In the presence of insulin, you cannot lose weight because that explains it. The fat burning pauses. So that's a very important point for you that are on the ketogenic lifestyle. But here's another point. Even without carbs, stress can rise the glucose. Stress can rise the insulin, and stress can stall the fat loss. So just because you're eating healthy and you're doing keto or carnivore or paleo and you're stressed all the time and your calendar is constantly full and the kids are constantly doing things to make you frustrated or anxious or worried, then you can explain why this scale is stalled. Low carb does not cancel out high stress, period. So, going back to what we talked about in episode 3, where we were talking about insulin resistance and how it worsens under the chronic stress, right? If you go back to our episode 3, we talked about that a little bit more. So, if you missed it, go back and listen to it. But another thing is that we also pointed in episode 3 is that elevated cortisol keeps the body in store mode. It's kind of like an animal out in the wintertime when before the winter hits, they are frantically collecting their food storage for the wintertime, or they're eating their berries and sort to get into that fat storage mode so that they can be able to sleep throughout the wintertime or even to be able to make sure that they have enough fat to feed off of the moments that they can't find their food because it's buried under snow. So it's kind of similar with us where, if we are stressed, our body is like, okay, well, this person's stressed. I'm going to hold on to this fat. I'm going to store it because I can see that it's she or he is worried about something, maybe frantic about the future. So we're just going to store it. So going on, we talk about signs stress is blocking the weight loss. Here's some signs that we like to point out. So maybe as I read these, I have a list here. Maybe you could do this checklist. See if you have maybe this problem with stress blocking your weight loss. So you've got the first one, the belly fat won't budge. I mean, first of all, the belly fat is the last thing to go when you are living a keto lifestyle or a carnivore lifestyle. That insulin is hanging on tight because it's just not used to how you were eating before, and it's just adapting to you. So that's the very last thing. But the belly fat won't budge. Waking up at 3 a.m. Sometimes like that wake up, like that cortisol is like, hey, you seem like you're still a little stressed out and worried. You went to bed late. You did not, fall asleep very well. You fell asleep watching the blue screen of your TV or phone. I'm kind of feel like I should be sleeping, but I don't really want to. So that's where that wake up at 3 a.m., that cortisol wakes you up. Cravings despite doing everything right. You are constantly like having a hankering and you can't figure it out. Like you had a decent meal and then an hour later you're like, okay, I'm just going to go depend on some food because My calendar is saying that it's super full and I'm super stressed out. Feeling wired but exhausted. Yeah, I don't know how. I think I have to explain that one. Plateau despite consistency. Like you are doing the things, you are doing everything that your coach tells you. You are doing things that your accountability partner is telling you, and yet you are even measuring out your food, and you are still in a plateau. You cannot figure it out. Um, that might be an explanation of your stress is blocking your weight loss. Increased hunger after intense workouts. This is pretty big because, they say that cardio is great. And I think that it's not bad. I think it has its place. But cortisol rises when you are constantly doing cardio. So that's one thing that you have to think about. Or if you're over exercising, if you are exercising more than, 3 or 4 times a week with hardcore for hours, you can be stressing your body out. I mean, it's too much. So that's why they encourage, having a rest day. Anyway, these are not signs you're failing, by the way. These are signs that your body is protecting you. Anytime I always question, like, okay, why is my body doing this or what is happening? I always ask the question. I step outside of my box, not thinking that I'm broken, not thinking that I'm doing something wrong, but I'm like, okay, what is my body trying to tell me? Is my body like if my scale's not moving and I'm doing the things, I'm measuring out my food, I am even eating in a calorie deficit, I'm doing everything that my coach tells me to. What is my body trying to tell me? And it could be telling you that, hey, you need to chill out. Here's that an extension onto what I was kind of pinpointing a little bit about the exercise. The over exercising trap. And there's common mistakes. Like I said, you can um overuse the cardio. People add more and more cardio to their workouts and it's great, but it's not burning many calories, by the way. You might think it is, but it's not. Um, but there's when the weight loss stalls, usually when people are doing more cardio, you will find that it's because, that's why the scale's not moving. Or people then decide that they're going to cut more calories. So they're not even going to feed their body the energy, the calories that it needs. So not only they up the cardio, but now they're going to cut the calories, but then they're going to push harder because things just don't seem moving because, it's not doing what you want it to do. Um, but all of those things, it raises your cortisol, it increases your inflammation, and it slows your metabolic lifestyle, your metabolic healing even further. So usually I love to encourage, having a more balanced time in the gym where strength training, where you're helping your muscles grow. It's a little bit less like it's not necessarily raising your heartbeat super fast. And I've done a lot of strength training and to the point where I have been able to get my heart rate up, even just doing some strength training without any cardio in between or anything of that sort. Just because you think that you're not doing enough doesn't mean that you have to push for more intensity. That is not always more progress. More intensity is not always more progress. So, that's where, again, strength training is great. It's calm. You can do your reps. You can grow your muscles. You can, tear those fibers, then eat that protein afterwards to repair those torn fibers in your muscles for growth. Walking is fantastic. Walking is fantastic. We have that CGM monitor program that we have, and we have tested several of our clients with the walking method. When after they eat and their glucose, spikes up naturally, then they go for a walk, and that glucose instantly goes down. It's amazing what walking does. And then also having that recovery So having those days where you have a rest day or do something even lighter. Maybe you do strength training one day and you need to keep moving. So then you decide to walk the next day and you alternate those two. And the biggest one that is a hidden feature here is sleep. When you are not introducing good sleep habits, you are going to not um, work out that high cortisol that you have built. So, adding a good sleep regimen to these four or these other three items here that talked about, um, that's perfect. It's like a perfect cup of tea, even though there's not a perfect cup of tea because tea is not good, in my opinion. Sorry, come at me. So, how to lower stress to support that fat loss? What are the things that you can be doing? Keep it practical, keep it calming. Our body doesn't like to feel like it's running from a bear every day. It doesn't like to feel like it has to work extra hard to keep up with you. So, support looks like eating enough protein, consistent meal timing, prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of sleep, strength training over chronic cardio. Let me just emphasize that. Like, if you want a good mixture, side note, HIT is the HITT, the high interval um, training. I'm sure I missed another I there. That is great. You've got a little mixture of 30 seconds of cardio, and then you're doing a mixture of strength training. So doing a balance of both is perfect. Um, then daily system reset, like walks, breathing, stepping outside in the sunlight, doing some daily gratitude journaling, making sure that here it goes into my next one, say no when it is needed. Stop filling your calendar up because you don't want to disappoint other people or you have an addiction to saying yes and putting everything in your calendar because you don't want to let people down. That's called people pleasing. And it's not focusing on your own health. It kind of goes alongside with when the airplane pilot or not the pilot, but the assistants, I don't know what they're called because I don't fly often. The attendants, they go and they tell you that if the plane starts to go down and those face masks go down, you put yours on first before you can help somebody else. I mean, it makes sense to me. If you're up here like struggling breathing, how are you going to go help other people put their face masks on around you? The message here is fat loss happens in a body that feels safe. And if you are not allowing your body to feel safe, it's going to start doing things to make up for that fear. It's going to store the fat when you're not eating enough calories. If you're not eating enough, period, then your body is going to store that fat because it's afraid that it's not going to be able to get when the next meal is. If you are constantly feeling like your body feels like it's constantly running from a bear, it's going to start to get used to that and it's going to adapt in another negative way, which is going to take from somewhere else in your body, which is where that insulin and glucose come in. So, fat loss happens in a body that feels safe and at peace. And you can't bully your body into releasing your weight. And we tend to do that when we bring in these pills and these shots and all these other regimens that are quick fixes. That is not going to fix your body. Your body's going to adapt to those quick fixes and then adapt to that and normalize that. And then you're still going to get a stalled scale because you're not fixing your stress. You're not fixing, again, like I said at the beginning, we're talking about somebody who's maybe doing keto, maybe doing carnivore, doing things by the book, and their scale's stuck. This is for you. Like if you are not fixing not only your body, but your mind, your spirit, and your social aspect of your lifestyle, you are going to eventually stall because the other three are just as important as what you eat. So I'm going to reframe this conversation. And I want to speak to you, the one that feels like you need to be the queen bee, the Superman for everybody, the person that is the type A that doesn't want to drop the control, that wants to make sure that everything's in line, everything's perfect, but yet you are tired, you are stressed out, you are worn down, and you feel stuck. Let me tell you, you're not broken. Your body is very intelligent. It's responding to the environment that you are creating for it. Let me just say that for the people in the back. Your body is responding to the environment that you are putting it in. The goal isn't to fight your body. The goal is to calm it. The goal is to balance it. The goal is to put it at peace so it feels safe. And you're not making it feel safe by all the things that you're doing. So I'm going to ask a question, and I want you to think about it. I want you to, if you want to respond to in our comment section with what your answer is to this, or even your takeaway, like go ahead and put it in the comment area, and we'd love to read it. Where can I? This is the question. Here you go. Ready? Answer this. Where can I reduce pressure instead of increasing it? Where can I reduce pressure instead of increasing it? Does that mean picking up your phone, looking at your calendar, and making yourself have a date with yourself? Meaning that you don't put anybody else's junk in that slot because that's yours. That's a good start. I was just reading James Clear's chapter, I think it was chapter 5, about habit stacking and how you can start to implement these things by the way you're living right now. And I think that's a great way to start is by, putting yourself in a spot in your calendar and then go from there. Create a new habit of adding yourself to the schedule and not saying, "Oh, I can move that." No, you're not. You're not going to put yourself back in that spot. You're not going to put yourself back on the calendar. I know. I've seen it. I watch y'all. Not literally, that's creepy. But we say that, "Oh, I'll just put myself back somewhere else," but you don't. You don't do it. That's not creating a habit, a good habit. That's creating a bad habit. That's still putting yourself in the back burners. So, where can you put yourself on the calendar? How can you create good habits that will implement meditation or prayer or gratitude moments or just taking time to calm your soul, taking moments with Jesus even? Where can you reduce pressure instead of increasing it? So next week, we're going to have episode 5. We are going to be talking about why doing everything right still doesn't work sometimes and what's really happening underneath. So we've talked about the insulin resistance. We've talked about today the cortisol. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to be highlighting for the next one, but even when we feel like we're doing everything right, that's where we need to really start collecting that data on ourselves and really hunker in and figure out, okay, what am I doing here? And again, when you are doing this, when you are collecting this data and you are analyzing yourself, this does not mean you're broken. This means that you're just better understanding yourself. So then you can feel empowered to know what your body is doing or how you can readjust or assess what needs to happen next. So with that, if you would share out this podcast, we would love that. If you would leave us a review that would even be even more amazing. The more that we get reviewed, the more that we are being shared, the better this can be shared with other people that need to hear this message as well. We will see you all. No, we won't see you. We will hear and talk to you all next week on Tuesday. And you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.